political commentary. Now here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
The other spots.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Sorry about that.
We got sound.
Yeah, and our hearing. We have our hearing as well.
Okay, I hope that didn't bother you out there. We finally have some sound. I'm not sure the sound was up, so Mr. O'Connor, was the sound up on that? Mr. O'Connor? Are you there, Mr. O'Connor?
Anyway, the corner of 32nd
No, we
Street
want to know
and
on the-
Bell.
on the live-
32nd and Bell, and when you're looking
don't
at the
think
Fry's,
that-
which is on the north side of the
Yeah,
street,
I'm here.
just look to the left, and we're in a little strip area right over there.
Well,
But
still,
if you do want some
I'm
books
here,
that aren't
nothing.
available anywhere else, and you do want some T-shirts, I think we still have some Trump 2020
Is that
shirts.
yours? That's mine.
If you want to collect these will be collector's items. Come on out. A lot of other things. I think you have some flags for sale. And some other things out here, and you get a chance to meet Uncle Ronnie. Uncle Ronnie, I think
You betcha.
yeah, I think you would sign some of those
I
books
would
or
sign
T-shirts.
autographs, right?
Would you?
Yeah.
I think you would.
I don't sign checks.
And that's it. We know that. We know you don't sign checks.
But at any rate, we're here, and we're really happy to. We had a gentleman come in here today, and he signed one of these, and he's from Baltimore, and he was a little upset, saying that the Board of Supervisors here does not quite understand that they work for the people of Maricopa County. They think that we work for them.
Yep.
And tonight's show, we wanted to talk a little bit about something here that I think has happened again. It happens over and over and over, and that is this audit process that they
Yeah,
keep
can you-
talking about.
Can you take off
The Maricopa County, talks about audits, but I don't think they actually have audits because, quite frankly, when I have been an auditor all my life, and what I see going on here is definitely not an audit. So I call tonight's show the audit that never was. And John Brakey is here, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. But we have on the phone, we have the attorney for a new lawsuit. But I really want to go over what happened and the yesterday at the Board of Supervisors and today. And so we have Mike Kelski, the attorney, as well for the Libertarian Party. And I want to welcome you to the show, Mike. And tell us a little bit about what's been happening. If you want to give more detail.
Well, if I could
about
say-
his background.
Well, I just want to say I've known Michael for about 15 years. This is not the first rodeo him and me have done. And I think this could be number 4 or 5. He's an outstanding attorney. He's run for county attorney. He has been very heavily involved in the Libertarian Party for at least 15 years, I believe, and has been a real champion of the people standing up. I'm not going to say he's an activist attorney, but I would be proud if I was an attorney and somebody called me an activist standing up for the American people. And that's what Michael has done over and over again in his career. And Michael, I'm very appreciative of working with you again, sir.
So tell us, are you on the line, Michael?
We didn't lose him, did we?
Michael?
What do you do?
Neil?
I don't know. We kind of lost him as well. At any rate,
No, he's on the phone.
He's on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Are you
should-
there, Michael?
He shouldn't be on mute. Take him off mute.
Are you there,
Uh-oh.
Michael?
He says he's here. We hear him way.
I
in
could
the
just barely
background.
hear you. Can you,
Yeah.
Michael?
Hold on, Mike. We got a technical difficulty. We're going to see if we can fix this.
Well, we had him on and off. He can't hear us. Okay. Are you there, Michael?
That's on speaker now.
I am here. I can hear all of you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome, Michael. It's so great to have you on the show.
We need to pot that up, please.
Okay.
Take it off speaker, it's on speaker right now.
It's on or off?
Wow.
Okay, can you still hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
We can't hear you.
Okay, the other sound guy is fixing this.
Yeah, we have to have another audio guy coming in here. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
What do you work for? What was that?
Yeah.
Verizon? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure we can hear Mr.
All
Kelsky.
right. Well,
Ask you to talk.
let's see. Is
Try it
safe
again,
to
Michael. I
hear,
think we got you.
Countdown. Mike, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Just barely. You just can't carry on a conversation with the audio this way. Now it's totally off.
We're checking it again. Is the volume all the way up?
Is there another way you want me to call in? Try to bring me in on a...
Hang on. Okay. Well, tell you while we have some difficulties there, why don't you tell us what happened, John? Tell us what happened at the Maricopa, the audit that never was. Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, you know, that's
Please stay on the line, Mike.
Hey, before we do that, when we finished our show Fighting Back on Wednesday, we were very excited because we knew that on Tuesday something big would be happening. Now, previously, the judge basically said, well, the county isn't really prepared. The attorney is not ready. He didn't know about this. So we're going to give him extra time to get ready. And we were anticipating two things. Number one, that he would make some kind of ruling on the origin of the lawsuit. And number two is the friend of the court that the GOP, AZ GOP, decided to come in. So give us, now that we have the background, give us what actually happened on Tuesday.
Well, hopefully he will be able to do that. Michael, did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Michael is here in studio?
No, he's not. It's somebody else. Michael,
okay.
Michael Kelsky? Hello? I guess we lost him totally now. Huh. Well, since we're burning time here,
Just static.
yeah,
Bad static.
this is bad.
We have a guest that just came in the studio. Is this Steve? No, don't come in here. Is this Steve?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat, please, sir. Okay, I can now hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of difficulty with the sound on
Well,
this.
we're hiring interns.
Who called him?
Yeah, call them on the phone.
Do this.
So we got to call him again?
Should I hang up?
Yeah,
Sorry to show my back to the camera, but that's okay.
it's okay.
Okay, come back again.
This is Mr. O'Connor.
As soon as he answers, take him off speaker.
Are you there?
Not yet, it's raining.
All right.
Oh, I can
It's
hear it
ringing.
ring really good.
I hope it's not the wrong number.
No.
Oh boy.
We still got a lot of static background.
Oh, that's much
Okay.
better.
No,
Yes.
it's not much
No,
better.
I'm hearing
It's
him
still,
well.
no, it's
No?
very, very tinny.
Okay, all right.
Okay, they're still adjusting
Anyway,
the sound.
could you, John, go over where we were, please?
Okay, we're introducing Michael Kelsky, who is the attorney for the Libertarian Party, and he is the lawyer for the Libertarian Party. I'm the expert on the case, and Michael is going to explain the case and where he'll let the public know what we're doing and how this thing is happening. And you had a question you want to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
before?
So what happened on Tuesday? Right?
Okay, well, Michael's going to tell us. Go ahead, Michael.
High, the mid-highs, and then the lows.
He's still waiting to come on.
Oh, he
Mr.
is.
Kelsky?
Well, that's one thing about live TV. There's always technical difficulties
Yeah.
that can happen, and you just got to play through. So, lots of other things happening here.
Well, first of all, the Board of Supervisors did what they call an audit. It wasn't, not even close.
So, Uncle Ronnie, you were an auditor. What is an actual audit, and then what was actually done?
Okay, well, let me tell you this. Audits are about compliance. They keep saying, well, we couldn't find any reason to have an audit. You don't have to have a reason other than to see if the operation was done professionally.
So
We know that there probably was not.
Okay, so basically, let's go back to school. Let's say we're in 5th grade, right? The teacher gives an assignment to the student. The student goes home. He does the homework. He hands in the assignment.
Right.
The teacher then looks at it and says, "Yes, you did this correctly. You could improve here, or it was perfect." Right?
We used to call those report cards.
All
It
right.
told you how your performance was.
Right. So is that an audit?
Well, it's not quite an audit because an audit is very structured and it goes through and looks at a number of issues. Now, in this case, you take the law of the state of Arizona. That's what they really are complying with, is the laws of the state. Now, they may think that they're complying with the laws of Maricopa County. They don't write the laws. The legislature writes the laws, and they they have only one commitment that they have right now. They have a subpoena that was issued. It's a legitimate subpoena. The only thing that they can do is agree to turn over the information that the Arizona State Legislature has asked for. They
So-
have not done that. Now, what compliance, okay? What compliance will tell you is whether or not they have obeyed the laws of the state. Now, what does that mean? Now, in this particular case, okay, when we say, well, the machines added up the numbers correctly when we put them through the machines 10 times. That only means momentarily. If you take a adding machine, say, and you change the keys, now, I don't know how many people have ever noticed, but the keys on a phone are just the opposite of the keys on a keyboard
Right.
for an adding machine. So let's assume that an adding machine now is being used, but you've changed the keys around. So when you push a 1 now, it comes up a 7. Well, that will be correct because the number will be wrong, but it will be consistently wrong. Every time you run something through and hit a 1 and it comes up 7, or a 7 and it comes up 1, it's consistent. That's what they have done, isn't that correct?
What they've done is a Volkswagen test, okay? A logic and accuracy and an emission test, they're both the same. They both prove everything is working correctly, okay? But the reality is that in the real mode, it could be said. I'm not saying that it was. I'm saying it could be, okay? So for them to call it an audit, it's not an audit. It is a process. It's an important process. Today, I haven't seen the whole hearing. I saw half of it on the way here because I got late notification, and they've now claimed they've done 10 logic and accuracy tests, okay? And, they're proving Einstein's right and that they must be insane by doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It doesn't mean it's an audit. It only proved that it's working right at this moment. And then they went ahead into it, which kind of blew my mind, is it went back to the hand count audit. And they're saying that we know that our stuff is right because we picked 50 batches of ballots before the election, and then they put a letter in each box saying, don't hack this box. There's 9,600 other batches, okay? So 9,550 will never be checked.
So they knew in advance, we're going to check these, so don't do anything to those.
That could be. I'm not saying that it's happened, but don't tell us that it's an audit and you know everything is right when you really haven't done a robust audit. They said, listen, the 7% of the vote came in through the voting centers. And they did pick randomly 4 precincts. Now, if I was a hacker, I would not hack the 171
Let's simplify
voting centers.
that. Let's just simplify that so everybody can understand. Here is a bank. There are banks all over, but here is a bank, and we have a beautiful alarm system in this bank.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by police. What bank are you going to rob? That bank or the one down the street that has no burglar alarm system, nor, I might add, police around it? So when they tipped everybody off and said these are the ones that we are going to survey, we already know. The bad guys, if there are bad guys, already know. Don't do that. And so I think that's what you're saying,
That's what
John.
I'm saying, because, listen, I'm not worried about Russians hacking, really. I'm not worried about the phone modems. I'm worried about the source code, the insiders, because this is an insider network. Most fraud is not done by Russians in this country. It's done by insiders. Okay?
So did they
And we're
check?
voting on secret software, and they know if there is something. We don't even know who really owns these vendors. Okay? I've been doing this for 17 years. I don't really know who owns ES&S. I don't know, after the Canadian company sold to the New York company, who the real new owners are. Okay? These are questions that I have. Now, I'm not saying that they're crooks or they're doing anything. I'm saying that we have an obligation to trust but verify. But if no verify, no trust. I'm having a real hard problem knowing how the hand count audit was done, knowing how a logic and accuracy test, and then have them come along today and do another. And I was down there. I can't believe it. I was in the Board of Supervisors. I was delivering the new records request that I sent to them yesterday because they hadn't gotten back with me. They didn't tell me, oh, gee, Mr. Brakey, you should stick around because we're going to have a 3-hour meeting and go over all of this and we'd like your input. No. They said, thank you. And I explained who I was, how I'm approaching this problem, not as John Brakey, Democrat, runner-up of the year in 2005 for my work in elections. No, I'm here as an American, trying to fight cynicism, trying to get people that can have trust in their voting system to know if it's real or not. That's all.
Right.
Okay? People, a lot of people I know, like I said before, they're joining the Mark Twain Party. That's the party that believes that voting made a difference. They wouldn't let you do it.
That's right. I love analogies, and it seems to me it's like the county coroner, right? A body comes in, and he says, yes, he's dead. They don't check how he died, what happened, what the marks are, anything like that. And now the Board of Supervisors is coming back in, just verifying that the coroner said, yes, he's dead. But we don't know how. We don't know what contributed to that death. We don't know if it was poison. We don't know if it was a gunshot wound, a stab wound. We don't know anything. They're looking at this and saying, well, they did what they were programmed to do.
Yeah.
And there is the key, Ray. The key is these machines do what you tell them to do.
Right.
And when you go
On
in...
secret software.
Secret
Okay,
software,
you don't
yes.
get to read the ones and the zeros.
No.
You don't see the formula, okay?
No.
It's the people they brought in to do the retesting was the same people who tested it the first time and they get paid not by the federal government to go check out that company. No, they get paid by the vendor who owns the equipment. Well, what's wrong with this picture?
One
How
of the
did-
interesting things when I was doing many audits and so forth, and looking at reviewing work that other people have done, I've noticed that the outcome of the work is always based on who paid the bill. If one company paid the bill, the audit was friendly to them, and if another company paid the bill, the audit was friendly to them.
Uncle Ronnie, John, how did we get to where we are right now?
Because we forgot where we came from. Because we were taught that machines count better than people. And you know what? They do. The only problem is they're programmed by people who can put trickery involved. And this is a problem. Oh, good. We got Michael back on the line. Okay, Michael,
there,
are you
Mike?
there?
Michael?
I think we need to call him. Is he on right now? I think we need to call
Is he
him.
on?
I don't know. I can't tell.
And so what, when you try dialing him in. So that's the problem. Secret software, we're voting into a black box. And by the way, all of this thing I've seen thus far by the Board of Supervisors, not once they mentioned the ballot images, which is all we really want. We
Right.
want the ballot images. We want to get them off to two different companies, Clear Ballot in Massachusetts, and then Ray Lutz in San Diego with Citizens Oversight. They have computer programs that can count those images. And then they can go ahead and bring those images back with a count matching the canvas by precinct. And then they should bring them back at 743 packages because there's 743 precincts. And then we want anybody to be able to count them because voting is a secret process. But counting is a public process.
It is.
And that process, you know, our Constitution says you're entitled to a secret ballot.
We
But it
just
does
lost-
not
just
mean that
lost
the
the pic-
government is capable of running a secret count
We just
and
lost
then
the
use
picture,
trickery
guys.
or whatever,
Okay,
you
we're
know,
back.
on this system. So basically, we want robust audits. We want elections that we can believe in. We want elections that are transparent, trackable, publicly verified. Call me evil if that's what we want, okay? I'm evil. I want to know my vote really counts. We're making big decisions in this country, and we need to have the right to hire and fire and know that our vote really counts.
You know, you'd think that the oversight of whatever companies are running this type of operation, right? We knew Sequoia for many years, and then all of these were being bought out by, we don't know if they're U.S. companies, we don't know if they're foreign companies, we know nothing about it. They're running the whole show without letting us know how it's being run. We need some independent people who can also read those programs to know exactly what they are so that they could be pointed out. But it seems like there's no oversight from the very beginning. Who certifies that these companies are favorable to the U.S.?
The Elections Assistance Commission. And the
I
first
think, I
guy
think
who
we
run
got.
it- let me
I
just
think we
finish
got
this
Mike
thought.
back on the. Are you there, Mike?
Mike? Uh-oh.
I don't hear him.
Oh, we lost him again? Okay. Can you, Mike?
That's
Ron?
on speakerphone, isn't it? Yeah.
Mike, are you there? I can't hear him.
Can you guys hear him?
Not really.
No.
I can't hear him at all. I could just barely hear.
So
So,
you were saying,
anyway-
how did we get? There's an oversight committee. Who's following up on all this? Because it's so very important to every single American that's out there that spends their time, that finds out about the issues, finds out about the candidates they want, that go down to the ballot box and actually place their
That's static.
vote in. So, who is this commission? How do they follow up? Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Oh, well, it's simple. In the year 2000, we had this bizarre election in Florida. Out of that election, by the way, a lot of that election was staged, okay? They had punch cards. And Sequoia actually printed the punch cards longer for a certain couple of counties in Florida, which called the punch card scandal, which led us into
Chads.
the Chads, right. And I'm
Hanging
working with lawyers
Chads.
all involved in this thing, okay? And they were pushing us away from, they really were trying to lead us into paperless machines. And they kept saying, look at these people, look at those people with the magnifying glass, looking at those votes, just crazy. We need machines to do the count. So they passed the Help America Vote Act in 2002. We called it the Hack America Vote Act. And I want you to know, after 2 years of this commission working, the man who was running the commission, who was appointed by Bush, was a reverend. I forget his last name. And I'll never forget his quote when he quit. You've never financed us right. There's a lot of problems in this industry. And you know, American people, I want you to know that we know more about the machinery on Mars taking pictures of rocks than we know about our own voting equipment. I quit in protest.
And it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But the media is not good at reporting this. Thank God for little stations like you guys, what you're doing, and helping bring experts in with voices, senators who are not heard, House people, and I can see, hopefully, because of what we're doing, you're going to go more nonpartisan. We're going to go ahead and maybe take some signs down and put for Americans who want to know if elections are real or not, and develop the show about the demand of making our democracy more functional, because it is not that functional. We've lost control, and the only way we're going to get it back is having robust audits that really can hammer this situation.
So what you're saying basically is when somebody goes in and they place their ballot inside that machine, it could be a shredder. We don't know.
Well, we know
right?
it's not a shredder.
No,
I don't
but
want to
no,
exaggerate
but,
that much. But I would say that you know, when that ballot goes into the machines, it turns it into a digital, and then we don't know what the software is really doing to it without robust audits. What we could be watching right now, what happened today with the Board of Supervisors, could be another dog and pony show.
Oh,
So why don't-
definitely a dog and
Uncle
pony show.
Ronnie, you've been around the political arena for many, many years. Why don't we have mandatory audits? And
Well,
then
that's
people
one
are
of the
expecting
things. There's
it.
some legislation going through right now, and of course, it's been killed, and especially in the Senate, because the one Republican that would make the majority has been voting with the Democrats on these bills.
Who would not want to make sure that everything was done correctly? Who wouldn't want that?
The winners of the election.
Yeah, but you don't know for the,
The
future.
power
I'm
brokers.
talking about the future.
It could be power brokers. We don't know who they are. We have ideas. I'm a conspiracy factualist. I don't want to guess, but I can say this. Houston, we got a problem. And I'm very alarmed by Maricopa, by not releasing the images or talking about this stuff.
There can only be one reason why you don't release the images. There's only one. That it's not proper. If it was proper, they would release the images.
Or
And-
maybe they don't want to release, and maybe somebody is protecting their right not to cheat now, but in a future election.
Well, the
And
bottom-
bond elections are very much, let's put it this way,
Exactly.
in Pima County, we started because of the 2006 bond election that we caught, and that was a 9-year case. We had 3 cases to collect all the evidence. Was to present the evidence.
What the heck was that?
He's going to break, and that's what it was, too loud. And so basically, as my other attorney, Bill Reiser, would say, maybe they're protecting the right to cheat now, but we're on it. We have filed another records request, and we'll go into that later. And I'm sorry that we couldn't get Michael Kelski on the line.
We're gonna still try.
Okay.
We'll still try.
and,
to get it.
I guess that the music is very, it's not
distorted.
It's
Yeah.
very
Music is all
distorted.
distorted.
But bottom line here, we're going to take a break here and see if we can resolve some of these.
You know what? Instead of taking
Some
a
of these
break,
problems.
can we take a John Breaky?
Take a John Breaky.
I don't know if I like that pun right there.
Okay. Well, at any rate,
You gotta have fun.
don't go away. We're going to see what we can do to resolve some of these audio problems. So we'll see you on the other side.
Wow, what a disaster.
What the
The
hell
world
is
is
going
full
on?
of misinformation. News stories on the surface may seem real, but under closer scrutiny are fake. Corruption and fraud are everywhere. There's a better political news and information website, BackstreetGossip.com, where you'll find the latest stories and information that's circulating the media world. You'll see stories of the day and stories that will be discussed tomorrow. BackstreetGossip.com will provide you with informative content that any reader would be amazed to gossip about. BackstreetGossip.com, providing information from Earth and beyond.
You got to move quick.
Let me say hi to this guy. My name's John Breaky. How do you do?
Steve Harris.
Steve Harris. I'm from Mershalltown.
He does something with radio. Radio. Oh, you better hit the head real quick because we got to.
Yeah. So maybe we ought to just excuse Michael Kelski, and this is not working on the phone, and we're just wasting time.
Well, can we get the phone working for this next segment or no?
Because I hate, boy.
We got another caller coming in.
We have another.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Ray Michaels from Street Talk
We are here on Trump Fridays, and I have our very, very special guest. Now, you come out here to El Capo, it's got some amazing food, but it all happens because of this man right here. This is James. He is the owner here. James, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, everybody loves coming here, and your pizza is spectacular.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, is it a special recipe? I got to know.
Yes, it is a special recipe. You know, everyone says that water is the big deal why you can't get good New York style pizza in Arizona. So we actually have a secret ingredient where we use beer. My family actually owns a State 48 brewery, so I actually use their beer in our dough recipe.
Well, that works out pretty good. So you have a whole family in the restaurant industry.
Yes, I do.
Well, James, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget El Capo, you got to come out. Trump Fridays happens every single Friday right here on Scottsdale Road and Shea. I'm Ray Michael. We'll see you real soon. You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Janet King. Well, DBA M&R Janet King. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial
Yeah, you're here in the Valley.
I'm here in the Valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now after coronavirus and March 18-20, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes, it could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right, so what's the website?
It's marthayamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, you know, everything about me.
All right, spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.LLAMAS.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com. You're listening to Fighting Back, news talk, current events, and political commentary.
Boy, we're up and down like a
Now
yo-yo.
here's the host of Fighting Back, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, hello and welcome back. Yeah, that we've done a little bit of technical work there. I think we might have Mr. Mike Kelsey on the line. Mike, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Whoa.
Yes.
You were there all right.
Now you're coming in really loud.
10
It's good.
times louder. Okay. Did you pot that down?
Yes.
Okay, Mike, welcome to the show. Half an hour late, but welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, you have been the attorney here for this lawsuit, so why don't you tell us what this is about? I've seen some of your performances on the Zoom call with the judge, but tell the listening audience what this lawsuit is about.
Well, it's about nothing more or less than the Maricopa County has gone ahead and been really public about this thing that they call an audit, which is clearly not an audit. And in the process, they have made a number of different public pronouncements which are clearly false, including, among other things, that they've invited the political parties to play their role and observe and and provide the supervision, so to speak, for what they're doing. And so, despite their public pronouncements that the political parties have been invited, all the political parties have been excluded, and the Maricopa County Libertarian Party, who was one of the parties that has participated in, for example, the logic and accuracy test and the hand count and things like that, before and immediately after the election, has been excluded from this process. And we just felt that they're violating the law. And what's more egregious is not only are they violating the law, but they're lying about it too. And so we want to hold them to account. And Maricopa County has a history of doing this. We have several times had to go to court and point out to the court system how Maricopa County just chooses to flout the law, chooses to ignore what they're required to do, and much of the time they do get away with it, but sometimes they don't. And the only way you know when they're not going to get away with it is by bringing an action like this and pointing the law and the facts out to the court and have the court smack them down.
Well, I was really surprised. I didn't have a chance to see the hearing. Was it yesterday? I guess yesterday morning. But I did the week before, where the attorney comes in 15 or 20 minutes late, and then says, "Your Honor, pardon the way I've dressed. I didn't know that we had a hearing today." I find that appalling. And if I had done something like that as a defendant in a courtroom, I'm sure the judge would have admonished me severely for that. But I didn't see that happening here.
Well, okay, so again, this is the different standard that applies to government lawyers and everybody else. So right there, and you saw that live in action. Anybody else that comes into courtroom and says, "Judge, I didn't even know we had a hearing. I didn't even know there was a case on," even though they were served 6 days earlier, and the paperwork they were served was clearly provided the court date when they were supposed to be there. So again, that's part of the culture of the court system. Sometimes they can be much too forgiving of government lawyers. So it was inexcusable that he said I didn't know there was a hearing. And what was even more outrageous is that then he said, well, Judge, I don't even know why we're here. We're not conducting an audit. I don't know what they're talking about. There's no audit going on.
Isn't that amazing?
And that was just absolutely jaw-dropping, because in my mind that was just outright deceiving the court. So not only are you trying to make an excuse for something that's inexcusable, which is, I didn't even know there was a hearing. Well, you had notice of it. You had the kind of notice that everybody in these kinds of cases gets, and you just decided at the last minute to say, well, I didn't even know there was a hearing. And then you waltz in there and you say, but Judge, they got this all wrong. We're not conducting an audit. What are they talking about? There's no audit going on. And meanwhile, once again, the county has widely publicized the fantastic results, the clean bill of health they got from their mock audit. Well, again, that's how you know that it's a mock audit. As somebody who has seen audit results, if you ever get an audit result of anything that's audited and there is not a single item that you're faulted for, then you know it's a fake audit. Because even when you do things as close to correctly as you can, the auditors will always give you feedback and say, look, you passed the audit, it satisfies all the standards, but here's some areas of concern. Here's some things that you need to watch out for. Here's some processes and procedures that put you at risk. And none of that in this mock audit that they're crowing about yesterday and today, none of that was in there. Everything was 100% perfectly. It was the most perfect thing ever, and that is not an audit. And right there, anybody that's ever been involved in any kind of audit or reviewing audit result documents will know exactly what I'm talking about. You always get feedback on risk areas and things that are okay but should be better. and so on. And none of that is here. But, getting back to the court case, so, that was also incredible on that very first time we came to court. So the judge gave the county a couple of days for them to speak to me, and then we would reconvene and we would tell the judge what we were going to do next. Well, so the next thing that happened is I did speak to the attorney for the county, and the attorney again said, look, if you just understood what we're really doing, you would know that you don't have a case and you would dismiss it. I'm like, all right. And we have this document, we have this scope of work document that'll tell you exactly what we're doing, and you will know that once you see that, you will know that you really don't have a case and you need to dismiss. I'm like, all right, well, give me that document and we'll look it over. I'll discuss it with my client and we'll see what we do. And then I get a call. I got a call the next day saying, well, I'm sorry I didn't get that to you last night. We're still working on getting that to you. But once we give that to you, you'll dismiss right away, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It depends on what's in this document that you're going to give me. And the next thing I hear Sunday night is I get an email from the attorney from the county saying, well, since you guys aren't going to go ahead and dismiss, we're not going to give you that document. That would just clear all this up.
Are you kidding?
Outrageous.
Yeah. So then we go into the hearing on Tuesday, and basically explain that's what happened to the judge. I say, look, Judge, first of all, they told you there wasn't an audit, and then the attorney for the county that it was a different attorney coming in. The attorney for the county that time said, oh yeah, Judge, we're doing an audit. And I'm like, Judge, do you remember the other day when they said there wasn't even an audit? They did, that we didn't even know what we were talking about. And so the judge said, all right, well, so the county wants to file a motion to dismiss, so they get some time to go ahead and do that. And since the county says they're already done with the audit, then the time pressures are a little bit off. So we're going to go ahead and give them time to file their motion to dismiss. Then you get some time to file a response, and they get some more time to file a reply, and then we'll have a hearing, and that hearing is set for basically at this point the middle of March.
Oh wow! I was amazed even when you pressed them to have a response the following day from the first hearing, and the judge says, "Well, that's not reasonable." I thought, "What do you mean it's not reasonable? They already said they were going to file a motion to dismiss, and they had notice, I think, Ray, for what?
6 days.
6 days or more?
Yeah.
And they didn't know that there was a hearing, and they didn't have a brief prepared.
Yeah.
That is.
This is government attorneys for you. This is what happens when government attorneys are on one side. They just they get away with so much more than attorneys that are not government attorneys in most cases.
Now, John, go ahead.
Yeah, it's absolutely mind-boggling, and there's just so many things that just make your head spin about this case, including, like I said, that almost was sort of a head fake. Like, we're going to give you this document that's going to clear everything up, but and then you'll dismiss because you'll be clear that you don't have a case. Well, since you can't promise that you're going to dismiss it as soon as we give you this document, we're not even going to give you this document. And it blows my mind. And again, of course, this is a document that's a public record. So what's the harm in giving it to me now, just in case there's even a small chance that we might be convinced that we really don't have a case? No, they play this. It's almost like a tit for tat sort of, juvenile game. Like, well, since you're not going to go ahead and dismiss, we won't even give you this document now. Well,
now we read something here on the Monday show that John Brakey had brought in with regard to a Supreme Court case because you believed that they would try to say, well, listen, it's already over, so it's a moot point now, and we really don't need to continue with this. Can you talk a little bit about that Supreme Court case?
Well, I mean, that's a common. It's not just one case. It's a common standard that applies in Arizona, and that is the standard that says capable of repetition yet evading review, and it applies in a lot of case contexts where by the time the case can go all the way to the Arizona Supreme Court, and could be reviewed. A lot of times, the side that's on the originally winning side will say, "Well, Judge, it's moot. There's nothing for you to decide. It's already been, it's already done. It's a done deal. The building has been demolished. The road has been built. The property has been seized. The person has been executed. It's moot." And so then the other side will say, "Well, Judge, no, this is an important legal issue, and the court needs to decide this not only for this case, but to explain what the law really is that applies here. So in any future cases, if this issue ever comes up again, we have clear direction from the court." So it's the capable of repetition yet evading review standard. And it applies especially in election cases, because election cases happen on it's almost a breakneck speed, where they go so super fast, and they have to be over and done with because ballots have to be printed in most situations, and elections have to be certified, and this, that, the other. So they have to go at a hugely fast pace. So again, I think there's a chance, and they did it in the last hearing. They tried to say, "Well, Judge, it's already over. It's moot," and I made the point that, look, Judge, this is an issue. Whether the audit is over or not has first of all, doesn't have anything to do with one of our claims, which is for the judge, the court to declare that this audit is not an audit. It's null and void because it violated Arizona law, and so it was nothing. It was a nullity. So from that perspective, it isn't moot. And even if it were conceptually moot because it's over with, it is one of those situations where, again, it's capable of repetition yet evading review because the county, because of the actions of the county that have made it, impossible for the court to even consider it and rule on it because, like we've already talked about, the attorney for the county comes in and says, "Oh, I didn't even really know there was a hearing today." All right, fine, we'll come back in a few days. You've got a chance to review it, and then they come back in a few days, and they're like, "Well, we haven't really decided anything. We haven't filed anything, but we promised we're going to file something. We just need lots of time to file our motion to dismiss," and the judge gives them 2 weeks.
Amazing.
So, again, that's where they're really setting it up for this argument that they're trying to make the harm, or they're trying to make the. It's so far in the past now that, Judge, it doesn't even matter what you rule; it's moot. And again, this is what they're trying to set up in part, I think.
Is there any chance that the Attorney General of the state of Arizona might intercede in this fiasco? I mean, this has been a clown show all the way through. Is there any chance Branovich may say, "Hey, you better turn the records over"?
Well, I mean, I would hope to the extent the Attorney General has taken an interest in some of this litigation, the Attorney General would do that. And again, remember this: there are already several lawsuits, I believe, now consolidated between the Arizona State Senate and Maricopa County. And I think the most incredible part about that is that in that lawsuit, the county is essentially saying things that are completely the opposite of what they're saying in this lawsuit. So in that lawsuit, I believe they've been asserting to the court that, "Well, Judge, we can't turn over these ballots because we're in the middle of this audit thing, and that's why we gotta hang on to these ballots, and we can't honor the subpoena of the Senate." And again, so they're using this mock audit as a way to fend off the Senate's subpoena. And in our case, I believe they're taking, like I said, an inconsistent position in saying, well, there isn't even an audit, or what you think is an audit isn't really an audit, it's something else, although we're constantly calling it an audit on all public pronouncements.
Yes, I don't know if John has told you about my background, but I've been an auditor for most of my life, including with the Auditor General of the state of Arizona. This is not an audit, not even close. I don't know what I would call it other than a clown show.
Now, John, were you able to submit this this request to the court?
Yes, of course.
We
Michael
talked
has,
about this.
Michael, I had Michael look at it over because I didn't want to file anything without his permission. And before I filed yesterday, I talked to Michael and he says, hey, you're independent, go ahead and do it. And
So this is the public record request,
for
right?
the ballot images, we're trying to get a shortcut. We don't need to look at everything. We just need to get those images. We need to go ahead and get them processed, brought back in 743 batches that anybody can count, and then we will run the whole ballot through another system and then check the accuracy and then allow it to go to the public for the public can verify themselves, because purely elections aren't any good unless they're transparent, trackable, publicly verified. That's the mission as Americans.
Right.
Michael, you've done this before with John. Is this the craziest thing that you've ever seen?
No, I don't think it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, John and I had a case many years ago where we ended up having to sue Maricopa County Elections because we had some elections observers that Maricopa County Elections was just like, no, you can't come into our election center. These are official observers appointed by the Libertarian Party. And so we went in front of the judge. The judge looked at the county people and said, what's going on here? They're like, yeah, we're not going to let this guy in. And the judge goes, well, why aren't you letting this guy in? Well, we have some vague security concerns that, we know the guy sometimes carries a gun, and we know he's got this camera and he's going to take pictures, and so the judge, looked at him like, well, can't you screen him to make sure he's not carrying a gun when he comes in? Well, yeah, we could do that. Well, can't you ask him not to take pictures of those things that he's not allowed to take pictures of? Well, yeah, we could do that. So the judge, very quickly ruled, no, you can't just keep him out. He's the official representative. You've got specific security issues. Go ahead and deal with it at that point. But if you're just making these vague assertions that you're afraid that it'll do these things, then that's a case that we won. There was another case that we did a few years later, also involving Maricopa County in their election shenanigans, and where we pointed out, and John is quite aware of this as well, where where just like in this round, where they did the hand count, but they followed the wrong process.
Yeah.
And we pointed that out, and the judge heard all the evidence, and the judge at the end ruled, the county didn't follow the law. They violated the law, and the county don't ever do that again, and that was the end of that.
So what is it just is it just a slap on the wrist? Is that basically what they get?
Not even a slap on the wrist. A slap on the wrist they could actually maybe feel. This was like less than that. This was like a a little bit of side eye.
Mean look.
And that case that Michael just talked about was in 2008. In 2008, they counted 18,000 ballots. I want you to know, in the primary, in the general, they only counted 8,000. And we're 40% bigger now than we were then.
Yes,
Back then, we counted 23 precincts. Now they're counting 4 voting centers, okay? It is an audit that doesn't prove anything except, that they counted a few batches that we've talked about earlier, but it's incredible. And that's where I'm grateful to attorneys like Michael Kelsky. He's stand by our democracy and fight with us. And Michael, I'm very grateful to the relationship that we have and all the years you've had to put up with me.
And let me point something out to the audience. Those of you that are steady, you know what I'm going to say when I talk about this is a bipartisan issue.
Absolutely.
Because John is a Democrat.
Progressive.
Ray and I are Republicans. I don't know
socialist.
what Michael Kelsey is, and yet we're working with the Libertarian Party as well.
Because we're Americans.
Because we're Americans.
And the Greens are with us too, and we'll be bringing the Democrats involved. I just got to go out there and remind them.
And I understand that the AZ GOP, Michael, just verify this, that the court did accept them as a friend of the court amicus brief.
Yeah, so yes, the Maricopa. I'm sorry, I'm not sure it's Maricopa County or state.
No, I think it's AZ GOP.
Alex
Maricopa
Cullinan.
County. Yeah.
Our very
Yeah,
own
they-
Alex Colodin.
Right. So they asked to be permitted to submit a brief in support of our arguments as amicus, which means friend of the court. So just additional arguments why the court should support one side or the other side, and the county defendants they didn't articulate any particular objection to it. So the judge agreed. Yeah, go ahead, and their brief is going to be reviewed, and the court will consider what their arguments are. And again, in their brief they very carefully laid out the things that we in almost a summary fashion pointed to. Said, look, here's the law that says the political parties have the special status, and their brief even digs deeper and makes it clearer in greater detail how the elections procedures manual by the Arizona Secretary of State has the force and effect of law and applies in this particular situation, and how the county is just blatantly violated. And we're just picking on them on the issue of keeping out political party participants.
Michael, we're almost out of time. And what I'd like you to do is put on your Swami hat and your crystal ball. What do you think is going to happen across the United States? We have been so disappointed with court after court after court, including the Supreme Court, on decisions that affect all Americans and, quite frankly, the world.
Well, look, if you're a conspiracy theorist or you favor those, then you will understand that by keeping all these cases from being fully explored, they're just protecting the bad actors that are in there. And even if you don't believe in conspiracy theories, then and you believe that the elections are run honestly, then why are they hiding the ball all the time?
Right.
Why is it such a huge deal? Which again just fuels this conspiracy theory. And I'm not a conspiracy theories. As far as I'm concerned, all of them are true or all of them are false. I don't really care. That's not the issue, because I will act the same way regardless. And the same way is let's get down to the truth. Let's get down to the facts. Let's stop hiding the ball here. And this is where John and I had talked about the analogy that we presented to the court was that the VW diesel scandal analogy, and it's like, look, the point of what they're doing here, this audit, the reason it's pointless, the reason it's just whitewashing this, is because what they're failing to do is they're failing to actually subject this equipment to real world, like on the road driving conditions, like real conditions. And they're running it through these various test schemes where a system that has been modified to cheat these tests to provide the expected results when it's being tested, but provide different results when it's being actually used, just like the VW diesel scandal. That's why this audit will never uncover that, because they're not looking for that. They're not setting it up that way. And that's why it's so important to make light of that and to point out the reason they wanted to keep out political party observers is because they wanted to keep people out that have institutional knowledge, that know how this is supposed to work, and that can point out the flaws and really make it clear that whatever they're doing here, they can call it whatever they want, but an audit it is
We're
not.
losing them.
Well, we got our closing music coming up here. We sure appreciate you, Michael. Will you come
Yes.
back another time when we have a little better control over this phone?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you for joining
Thank you,
us.
sir.
Michael, thank you.
Thank you, John, for being here again tonight. And
Always
wish
a pleasure.
We had,
It
got
always
off
is.
to a
Thank
little
you very
better
much.
start, but
I love his
we
animation.
ended on a high tone.
I love it.
So we're going to see everybody, I think, on Monday night for Backstreet Gossip.
That's right.
So don't you go away, and thank everybody involved in tonight's show. And we'll see you again next week.
And we'll keep fighting back.
Fighting back, yes.